wash my soul in the ocean, in the tears of God, I let it go.
Taurus, July 2020. We're starting the second part of the year, and it's going to be one roller coaster, as if the first part was a smooth sailing. But it's getting even more interesting now from July onwards, with the peak in September, October, and November. But the first and very important event that's happening is that Mars is entering for 6 months from July to the end of the year your 12th house, Taurus, whether you're Taurus rising, sun, or moon. Always start with the rising, then check your sun and moon signs. They all will play out in different levels in your life. But Mars starts to prepare you for a spiritual battle, because the 12th house is the hidden house of spirituality, of internal psychological developments, and Mars is a planet of breakthroughs, of interventions. And so there'll be a big alchemical process that happens almost imperceptibly and invisibly for you, starting from July till the end of the year, that is going to change your consciousness on a deep level. There will be some possibly moments of eureka, of realizing some deep truths, and they might come to you suddenly, because that's the nature of Mars, like suddenly remembering moments from your past lifetimes or from childhood, buried moments that you have forgotten, and Mars brings them to the surface. Mars is like this rebellious energy that stirs up the swamp, and the dregs come to the surface. But it's very internal work, so a lot of people around you might not notice what is happening, but you will feel quite turbulent inside on an emotional level, and the universe will give you so much energy to battle some internal inner demons of yours. The 12th house is the house of hidden vices, the house of subconscious blockages that we're not even aware of, that we're afraid of, our inner monsters that we've buried maybe from past lifetimes or early in this lifetime in childhood, and we've locked them there in boxes, and we're trying to navigate the road of our life while we're stumbling over those boxes, and we don't even know what's in those boxes. So for you, Taurus, you'll start opening those boxes little by little. Whether you want it or no, Mars will do it. It will pop them up like Jack in the Box, and you'll be like, oh my God, what is this monster here? And it's our own inner demons, basically, our own inner weaknesses that Mars will give you the strength to battle through for the next 6 months. So initially in July, you might start seeing such themes gradually, but again, the peak is in September, October, November. Some of you will have amazing breakthrough psychologically by being able to really confront their inner demons and the things that they self-sabotage through. It might be addictions, 12 house rules addictions. It might be hidden secrets that they're almost like kind of, we find them shameful and we're hiding, and now we'll be ready to combat them. We'll be able to confront them and not be fearful about them. So it will give you a lot of courage, but on an internal level. Again, as I said, you might not be so visible that achieve some great outside achievements unless your ascendant is in Aries, so your moon is there, whatever sign, but for Taurus in particular, the battle will be happening on an internal level, as I said. So you'll be able over the next 6 months to win a battle by the end of this year in regards to maybe addictive behaviors, in regards to your own subconscious and fears that you've been battling with. Maybe it might be good to work with a psychologist who is very interventionist, who is kind of calls you on your bullshit. Of course, not to traumatize you, but someone who gives you the resources, and a psychologist or an astrologer, someone who works with the occult and the soul, who arms you up to overcome your fears, your internal hidden fears, so who does not allow you to pamper anymore and to drag around with you this psychological baggage from many past lifetimes. And even if you don't work with a psychologist or astrologer, it will happen on some naturally on its own. So you can feel, as I said, more turbulent inside. And you might feel also, because Aries being in the 12th house, that you, like in your dreams, you might notice that over the next 6 months, starting from July, you can be working through those issues in your dreams. Meaning that you might have very violent dreams. I remember when Mars went retrograde in my 12th house, that was 2018. So for 6 months, I had such angry dreams, because you are standing up to the things that you fear, and often in dreams they will appear standing up to someone who abused you, someone standing up to someone who took your power in your dreams, or it can be in your imagination. You might notice yourself gradually, starting from July, that you are sitting and thinking about people that have harmed you and that you've kind of recoiled from and that you never answered back to. You might start playing such scenarios in your head where you confront them, when you take your power back. This is Mars, On a more material level, starting gradually from July, the 12th house is matters connected to faraway countries. Some of you might initiate very important activities connected to faraway countries, foreign import, exports, settling in faraway countries, which requires you to be a pioneer, which requires you to gather so much courage to do something in a foreign country or a faraway place that you haven't had the courage to before. And Mars will arm you up with that courage. 12th house is spirituality. A lot of you might get really motivated to start like a soldier, to do some spiritual exercises, and spiritual exercises often there's nothing physical about them. Okay, there might be yoga, but it might be like dream work. It might be that you become like a soldier, very disciplined and follow through in work connected to your subconscious, connected to visualization, or if you're in any career that's connected to healing, to imagination, using your imagination to create something. If it's connected to spirituality in any way, some work, like for example, like the one I do, you'll be very busy behind the scenes. You'll be very busy preparing such projects, working on them, correcting them, editing them over the next 6 months, starting from July. I remember when Mars was retrograde in my 12th house, I felt emotionally not so well, but I did so much work, spiritual work, because all my work is spiritual. So, and even if you're not in any of those careers, it can indicate that you can take some journey. 12th house, faraway journey, to relocate to a faraway place, or to travel for a long period of time, for example. But you have to be a bit more careful, because Mars triggers it. So it can be, if you visit faraway countries, if you can travel at all, there might be some confrontations there. There might be some something that, and you feel more motivated as well in foreign country, more driven, more ambitious. If you're living already in a foreign country, you can find your mojo, or you might find the drive to move to a faraway country. But if you're going on a faraway trip in some way, just be careful, because you're more likely to meet with provocations there, and with some power struggles of some sort. And it's again, the ultimate goal is to make you raise your consciousness through a blockage, by confrontation as well of some sort. And 12th house is expenditure. Mars there, being there, you might be purposefully, let's hope it's with purpose, that you purposefully decide to start some to spend on something. So there might be extra expenditure, especially around September, October, November, but we're still in July. But you can still get the inklings about this from the start of July. But by the way, I'm making a webinar, my first solo webinar in 2 years. I haven't done that, about the second part of 2020, with focus on Mars retrograde, and with focus on Mars in Aries, how it's going to affect you. It's only $39. And with it, you will receive 6 months of free transit from my transit calendar. So you can see all your Mars transit, and we'll speak specifically about each one of those transits, what you can do, how to prepare, how to take the best out of this transit as well. So do come and join me. And if it's on the 1st of July, if you join me then, or you can watch the recording after that, and it rises the price after the 1st of July. So I'm very excited. Haven't done a webinar just by myself in 2 years, and it will be a huge thing. Maybe 200-300 people I'm expecting to come. Okay, so yes, so that's the start of this. Then you're going to have, and by the way, Mars rules your 12th house. Mars rules your 7th house of relationships. So your relationships, some of you might start some hidden relationships, Mars being for 6 months in your 12th house. Some of you might start some of you might be very much involved in something more secretive that is happening in regards to relationships, business contracts, agreements, or some preparatory stage for that. And overall, while Mars is in your 12th house, 6 months will be good to prepare for something that you might bring to the surface from the start of 2021 when Mars enters your sign, Taurus. So it's like you might be researching very actively something, delving deep in certain studies, experimenting, trying things, and then you can really bring that project or whatever you've been preparing for this new beginning from the start of 2021. At the same time, we're going to have eclipses. One more eclipse at the start of the month in your 9th house, and it's a lunar eclipse, which means completions, and this eclipse is active for 3-4 months after that. So it's telling you that you have to complete something, and Saturn comes back to your 9th house. If you can see, you see here the eclipse is there with the moon, very busy 9th house. Saturn comes back there, Jupiter and Pluto are there. So some lessons or some activities you haven't completed connected to the 9th house, you'll have to complete them starting from July till the end of the year. You might complete them earlier, of course. And these activities are connected again to faraway countries. I don't know why it's coming up for you. Travel, education. Maybe resume some course of education, studies. Or maybe anything that is blocking your pre-qualification, that you have to put hard work into. Saturn is hard work to pre-qualify, to gain knowledge, to study something in depth, Also, it's documents for foreign living or relocation to foreign places, that you be called to do some hard work there, to complete, to finish, and hopefully see results by the end of the year or even a bit before that. But it is hard work. If you're someone who teaches, a teacher, or who makes lectures, 9th house, who is a coach of some sort, an advisor to others, it will be extremely busy period from you starting from July. You might see a peak of activities till the end of the year, though it stays like that, so get ready for hard work if you're in any of those careers and completing such projects, because the full moon there. It can also indicate completing documents for relocation. I talked about that, pre-qualifications, teaching. Okay, and maybe getting in touch with people from faraway countries and places, revisiting places that you haven't been for a while, that are places, foreign places as well, that can be a theme. But it's also opinions and your belief systems. And Saturn going there for the last time, and the eclipse, which is eclipse of endings, requires you to really, from July for a few months, to re-examine your old beliefs and shed them, to start basically cutting off the unhealthy belief systems that have been stopping you, but to keep to very pragmatic and very practical belief systems that work for you, and lines of studies as well. But there is a big opposition happening in July between planets in your 9th house and planets in your 3rd house. So there's a lot of activities on a local level as well, not just international. So you have to balance this month between daily responsibilities, short trips and long trips. For some of you that is possible, and possibility for quite a few possibilities to go on a short trip somewhere, something underneath a month as well, or just a few days. There is a lot of activity in regards to communication, writing, speaking, that is very active the whole July. Administrative work, social media work, documents, papers of any sorts. You're sorting those things up because Mercury is retrograde till the middle of the month in your third house, and you start moving direct from the 12th of July, which means that if you had any complications with advertising, with marketing, or you've been working on some project, media project, writing, vlogging, blogging, training project, you're gonna start seeing the results of it. Or if you've been learning some skill or trying to brush up on some old skills, when Mercury starts moving direct, you're gonna start seeing the results of those skills. You're gonna start seeing how they're paying off. Or if there were complications in relationships with neighbors, siblings, relatives, or teammates and workmates, while Mercury was retrograde, from the middle of the month, these complications start going away. Some important conversations might be in line with such people, your relatives, your people from your near and close environment. Some clarifying conversations, maybe a bit of a crisis can happen with such people till the middle of the month, or some delays on a project you're working with a small group of people, or some commercial or business activity, some delays, or having to redo a commercial or business activity project a few times over. But by the time Mercury starts moving direct by the middle of July, you're going to start seeing either the great results of these extra skills that you had to employ and extra intelligence and mental efforts that you had to put, or the resolution of difficult situations and problems in the lives of neighbors, siblings, relatives, or situations with them, and mates and friends. So you see, and also be careful, because July there's this push between your third and ninth houses, your opinion and other people's opinion. That can be a very kind of a sizzling month for you about what you believe versus what others believe. And you might be challenged. Your opinions will be challenged. You can challenge others. You can enter some conflicts in regards to what are my beliefs, what are your beliefs. You might feel quite like it's like very black and white at moments, July, or very kind of extreme beliefs. You feel that you yourself are kind of, your beliefs are becoming more extreme, but at the same time you're learning to release the old unnecessary one. But there is this battle or this tension between and it might be on social media or with friends or with relatives, whatever, and that's a little bit a point to be careful about, but it is there. I guess it has to be worked through. Also, if you've had some problems with vehicles, with trips and journeys, from the middle of the month they start getting resolved when Mercury starts moving direct. And talking about this eclipse, that the whole month will be under the influence in your ninth house, and triggered by the moon, Lunar Eclipse Victory is making a great webinar of 12 weeks. It's going to be only $300, and you can pay in 2 parts about eclipses, how to read them, how to predict with them, and the moon in the houses and planets. So it's foundational course. If you want to learn astrology, the moon is the most important planet in the horoscope, one of the most important. You can do a horoscope to a person just by reading the moon, just by looking at the eclipses that will activate them. And Victor will teach you exactly how to do this. He's our best teacher. All his lectures are attended at least by 200-300 people. So do join us. Check out the offer below. And we continue. What else is happening? So a lot of movement. For some of you, they might be where you're moving a lot of communications, a lot of exchange of information, but tensions as well possible. A lot of knowledge is coming to you as well. Starting classes, courses, or completing such can be very important, and especially starting new classes or courses towards the end of the month, because there is a new moon in Cancer at the end of the month, and it's without an eclipse finally. So like a restoration, revival, new opportunities connected to learning new skills, to new trips and journeys, to new business projects and commercial projects. And last but not least, Venus, your planet, is finally visible. It's moving direct the whole July. So that's one place of ease, and it's in your second house. You can get to experience some very pleasant second house things, good food, discover some great restaurant, discover liking for cooking and new dishes, get some money, a bit more money. Venus in the second house, or just buy something that you consider very, even if you go and just buy clothes or shoes or any object, you would find it much more beautiful, more valuable. You'll be able to sniff out the more valuable deals and something that you'll love for a long time. So the five senses, this is where your joy and pleasure is coming from in July. And coupled with all those traveling positions, if you go travel somewhere or go on a trip somewhere, you'll get to enjoy a lot the visual, the sensory, the tastes, the sensual pleasures there. And also, if you have your own business, for example, it can indicate maybe a bonus or some financial improvement in your horoscope, some uptake in your life in regards to finances and resources, or discovering really beautiful materials for something you want to create. This is again the second house, very beautiful resources, really high quality as well. The whole of July, this is active. So yes, this is what anchors you, that Venus in the second house, stay anchored in the senses, because all the other planets are making you think too much, making you philosophize too much, true information over and over in your head, and that's the anchoring energy, Venus in that second house, just focusing on the sensual. So yeah, if you want to know your specific transits, like no one else in the world has, you can check my free transit calendar, which is free for 7 days ahead always. Every day when you log in, you'll see 5 to 7 days ahead, and you can use it. 40,000 people using it for free. Maybe 1,000 people are using it. You can unlock a month or two ahead, so you can check out this video at the end, which is telling you about the calendar. Thank you so much, and make the best of July 2020.